Bombshell: Trump to freeze Hillary's assets. This is absolutely massive. Many analysts predicted that as soon as President Trump scored his first big legislative win that the gloves would come off and he'd start draining the swamp, and it appears as if that's exactly the case. Last week, the president quietly signed a powerful executive order that allows the freezing of assets of a wide range of individuals, ranging from foreign nationals, to foreign businesses, to U.S. businesses, politicians, and lobbyists, if any of the aforementioned people were a part of corruption or human rights abuses. In fact, Hedge reports that the executive order basically applies to anyone in the world who aided and abetted serious human rights abusers or who has been found to engage in corruption, including the misappropriation of state assets, the expropriation of private assets for personal gain, and corruption related to government contracts or the extraction of natural resources. Uranium One sound familiar? What about the Clinton Foundation? The Trump administration quietly issued an executive order, EO, last Thursday which allows for the freezing of U.S.-housed assets belonging to foreign individuals or entities deemed serious human rights abusers, along with government officials and executives of foreign corporations, current or former, found to have engaged in corruption, which includes the misappropriation of state assets, the expropriation of private assets for personal gain, and corruption related to government contracts or the extraction of natural resources. Furthermore, anyone in the United States who aids or participates in said corruption or human rights abuses by foreign parties is subject to frozen assets, along with any U.S. corporation who employs foreigners deemed to have engaged in corruption on behalf of the company. In fact, anyone in the world who has materially assisted, sponsored, or provided financial, material or technological support for, or goods or services to foreigners targeted by the executive order is subject to frozen assets. Yikes, everyone involved with the Clintons should be shaking in their boots now. Also included in the order are D.C. lobbyists, many of whom work on behalf of foreign governments guilty of some of the worst atrocities on the planet. Last week's executive order could have serious implications for D.C. lobbyists who provide goods and services, for example lobbying services, to despots, corrupt foreign politicians or foreign organizations engaging in the crimes described in the EO. Virtually every lobbyist in D.C. has got to be in a cold sweat over the scope of this EO, said an attorney consulted in the matter who wishes to remain anonymous. Consider, what would happen if Apple, say, employed a foreign national who bribed a PRC official for government approvals? How about a hypothetical case of a company like Northrop or Boeing where an employee, or consultant, who is a foreign national bribes a Saudi official to direct government purchases of airplanes and military equipment? At least some or all of their assets could be frozen, said the attorney. As far as Hillary and her cabal are concerned, we turn to Uranium One. A former FBI informant claims to have video evidence of Russian officials using briefcases full of cash to bribe those responsible for approving the controversial deal, which allowed Russia to take control of 20% of America's strategic uranium reserves. Let's also not forget about Tony Podesta, who ran the now-defunct Podesta Group. Podesta was basically an agent of the Clinton Foundation, and his brother pushed strongly to have David Adams, Hillary's chief advisor while she was Secretary of State, hired by the Podesta Group so that there would be a direct liaison between the State Department and the Russians attempting to purchase our uranium.